Maybe if we could maybe do scoring for Kubrick, it would be amazing, but I think it's a little bit late.
Yeah, it's actually our first time in Vegas, so we're pretty excited to be here.
It's huge. It's impressive. It's international. I've been to Eiffel Tower, so for the first time in my life, and I'm French, so it was really funny.
Well, it wasn't for us in the way we create. We, very inspired by various countries and Brazil, Mexico, and so on. And we've used work with Mexican artists and Meridian Brothers, who are Colombian. And in terms of the audience, I think we're starting to get an audience here in the U.S. with our French-speaking songs like Canopee. They know a bit of the lyrics, so I'd say apparently not.
I remember when I was a child, and I'm still not speaking English. I'm not a good English speaker, but when I was a child, I didn't understand even one word in English, but I was able to love a lot of American or English songs. So I think it's not a barrier. It could be musical, the voice. So no, it's not. It's not a frontier.
There's a lot of cinema references, and I know there's The Party from Peter Sellers is one of the references. Alex, can you pinpoint a couple of others? But
Yeah, we try to tribute a lot of old directors like Jacques Demy, like a lot of French musical comedy, and a lot of like vintage aesthetic French outfit and French haircut, and it was like comment dire, un clin d'œil.
an eye wink.
It was an eye wink for all this period in France about seduction, new wave, and like. Sorry, my English is really
new
bad.
wave such as Nouvelle Vague, which is the French new wave, obviously not the 80s music.
Yeah, it was, I think, a real tribute to vintage French aesthetic.
Well, there's so many films. We've been lucky enough to collaborate with Vladimir Cosma, who's like one of the amazing guys who did a lot of music for French movies in the 70s. And Le Grand Blond is one of our references for sure. We love it. We kind of open our live show with that. Also, there's a sample of this song. So
maybe if we could maybe do scoring for Kubrick, it would be amazing. But I think it's a little bit late.
You never know. Well, Serge Gainsbourg definitely had like a long-term vision. He really had his aesthetics, and he revisited it constantly through the time periods. Every 5 years, he's renewing genres, go do a reggae period like the 80s and change his sound. But he always had his writing, and definitely the writing was very inspirational to us. And the way we open, for example, the text of Canopee, we wrote it a bit like he does the song Sous le Soleil, where he gives a latitude and longitude and sort of like writes out a map of where the song is going to happen. And that was an inspiration how we started the song, and then from there we moved on. But he's always there, present when you're writing. He has a really amazing way of just writing so many great songs. The visual is definitely always been super important. We're very lucky to always have collaborated with our friends from the team from Radio with 5 O's, and they've been friends from long before we were DJing together at Baron. So we've been hanging out from back in the day.
Yeah, and we always try to produce music like a movie. We start by scripting and storyboarding songs, and inside each songs we have like a starting, we have like a lot of difference in a lot of scenario, we have a hand, so
yeah, we like to have a what we call a switch in the song, a surprise element, and sort of change everything in the song in the middle of it. And so that could be kind of similar to a movie. Something dramatic happens to the protagonist and the whole story shifts at some point. And Alex did a cinema school, and we were very inspired by Disney, by a lot of movies. So the visuals already always there when we're writing also.
Some people think that Polo and Pan is just like a summer songs, and if you see a little bit more deeper in the project, you see that we like sun, but we like the moon too. And Genji is what like a tribute to the other part of Polo and Pan. This is the moon, the yin and the yang, and so
Yeah, Gengis also. We've always had the dream kind of to play in Burning Man someday, so that was sort of opening towards that, like something. We had a bit of psychedelics in Dorothy, but that's kind of a song that trying to set like, okay, what if we played in Burning Man? Could we play? Oh, maybe Baccarat. We have a couple of songs that sort of tend to that, but we're trying to write something. So we used a shaman drum, we used shamanic flutes, a lot of instruments that are sort of more in the aesthetic of psychedelic and just like shamanic in general.
between us, there is no competition between us. Even if I know I win, but we love producing with the new generation of soft and the new instrument, but we are really
Yeah, we're very attached to some things that we've lost in like the sound of the 50s or the 60s, the way the recording sounded back then, and we try to just capture that, emulate it. It can be sampling, but it's also micro recording a lot of traditional instruments and then like putting them on keyboards and being able to use them specifically at any moment. So we try to use some of the modern production and then keep a lot of stuff recorded from microphones. You just get sound of the air, you get something a bit quirky, a bit like the groove is a bit off, and it sounds more pleasable to the ear, especially when you listen to a track 10 times. You're going to enjoy it a lot more if it has a little imperfection. Coachella was definitely a step. It's such an amazing festival, and being in Palm Springs, it's like really powerful place, and we had a great time. And since then, this tour is our first tour in a tour bus. It's a different kind of way of touring. And we were just in Utah yesterday. That was fun. We spent a day in Richfield. We saw a racing derby with cars fight each other. That was special. That was a real experience of America. So yeah, this is a special tour. It has its own vibe. Well, yeah, I guess you guys have like really a thriving hip hop scene, and also rock and roll was so much bigger, so electronics, to per se, we're born in the U.S., Detroit and so on, and then it was sort of a niche thing here, and it blew up in Europe, and for sure we've mixed it up with a lot more with pop, like various influences. Electronic is more mature in Europe, and now I think the U.S. are sort of like, oh, this is interesting. We can mix it also with hip hop and the stuff we're doing, so it's all kind of coming together, and the U.S. is have a big EDM scene here, like, so you love the U.S. loves electronics too, especially Vegas, I'd say, and so I guess we're all ready to party together pretty soon. Let's do it.